Good morning, Dr. Brad.
Hello, Kurt. I want you to know something.
But
I specially cleaned up my cup twice to make it shines.
now I'm
And it was because this is such a special occasion for me.
oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't get to sit with Kurt all that much.
Yeah, we were.
Isn't that nice? And I want, oh, wait, this is an opportunity, everybody, because it's the 19th of May. We're going to do a working session, and you have an opportunity to hit like
And what section?
and subscribe and the notification bell. And then you can say comments about how lovely this looks.
It's a very spiffy looking cup there. I can't show mine now because it's the other end.
There you have it, Kurt. Now you know the secret.
Well, I mean, you've shamed me so that when we take a
Oh
break,
my!
I'm gonna go get the other cup.
Oh, I'm gonna use the drop cup. I'm gonna drop the drop cup and get the real cup.
I got two of them, so I got one.
I know you're way ahead of the game.
So, and I think we've taught this before, but the company that made this kind of cup is gone away. So
This is just a tragedy.
Or foreign imitations instead of good American and Canadian coffeeware.
Oh my! It's the end of the empire, Kurt. We have to put up with such inconveniences.
Well, you think of it this way: is they're heavier.
Mm.
They take longer to make and more materials to make. And unless you're specifically desirous of this kind of quality thing, production from China drives the quality out of the market. It's just like how Home Depot drove quality out of the market. And does that make sense?
Made me sad.
You got, economics and everything. Why do I have this shine on my chat? It's the light angle or something. I don't care.
It's okay, Kurt.
It looks like I've been lying in flour.
Oh
I can't think of anything sexual to label it as, but
I understand.
too much shine here. And I tried to adjust the zoom earlier.
You're having a hard moment.
Well, it's this whole thing of yours always looks right.
Oh my.
There we go.
Very subtle, very subtle.
There we go. Now we're good.
Now you're happy?
Well, I'm adequately comfortable enough that my autistic OCD won't be distracted by the fact that there's shine on my shirt. I wrote a piece about, I wrote a quick piece. I don't know why it's just interesting. It's sort of like a research experiment in our audience. When I put stuff out on like autism,
Okay.
it gets read, right? which is like, okay.
That says something, doesn't it?
It says something. And what I was trying to do is a lot of men experience, this is how I'm warming up, right? I told you I needed to warm up a little bit. So a lot of men experience what's called emotional flooding.
Okay.
Which is that women are much more emotional and they use all these emotions and they can dump them on you. And at some point you become overloaded and you're actually, you experience desensitization to what they say. And so that's flooding, but that's like a thing almost all, at least males, certainly some females can experience is yes. Overload. And then there's oh shit, I don't want to pull it up, so I have to walk through each of the names. But so there's an escalating path to where the really serious autists have basically a tantrum reaction. They get angry.
Oh.
Right. And so that's how you know if somebody has autism versus somebody who has Asperger's. They just shut down. So the really autistic ones with high activation, they can outburst, or the ones that shut down. then there's the next level is that you shut down for a longer period of time more thoroughly, right? You start to disconnect from yourself, from everything. And then of course there's autistic disassociation disorder, at which point there's not much you left, right? And so what I was trying to, the reason I was writing about it, because it was related to our work on,
Okay.
is that what's really happening is fascinating, is that because your memory is dangerous,
Right.
you live in the moment and you become depersonalized because your memory of anything personal is avoided.
Oh,
Does that make sense?
I understand.
So I thought, I was thinking about our work, and I was like, well, how does that affect the flooding sequence? And I was like, well, it's really obvious, actually. What I don't like is that they don't have that bit in the literature. First of all, that series is talked about as separate things,
Hmm.
right? It's not, right, because
Not a continuous function.
it's not a continuum, and they don't explain why, which,
I
right?
mean, they fail to explain that any of it. Does that sound more accurate?
Yeah, but it's like a lot of things. Somebody says, Kerr, you should go through and take Aristotle and rewrite Aristotle with your stuff, completing the Aristotle project. I'm like, dude, I would. Do you know how much I would love to do that? But I got enough work to do, right? And the same thing, I think sometimes I've said, well, there's what's wrong with, I think this is being fixed by people like Taraban, and others, but what's wrong with the psychology, the psychotherapy industry, the psychology industry in general, is this feminine bias, and we can easily correct it by showing X, Y, and Z. And I would love to write a book on that, right? Then I go there, well, I forgot the one I was just talking about.
The autism
DSM.
memory.
And I'm like, well, I would love to go through and rewrite the DSM-5, right?
Oh dear God, that thing is
Is a nightmare.
political. It's political.
It is. It's political, and so I would like to do that. But I mean, I got enough fucking work.
Yes, it's just it's a priority issue.
Anyway, so so this goes back to you and me, and it's like, I guess there's no rest for the wicked. Is that
Something like that.
or the wicked don't give us any rest? How about
Something like that too. That's that close. It's so close.
I gotta write that one down real quick. Is it that there's no rest for the wicked, or that the wicked don't give us any rest?
I think that latter one holds more true.
All right. Okay, I'm good.
All right.
Okay, what chapter are we working on, Brad?
We're working on embodiment, I believe.
And in embodiment, we had a really productive day yesterday.
Right.
It was really rewarding. I was walking on my tiptoes, walking on air for the rest of the day.
Good.
I have extraordinary confidence in this chapter now. So I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to do a quick overview again of what's left to work on today, basically, and see what we feel we're ready to produce. It might take me a bit to get my mind deep enough into the structure to decide that, but we'll get there. All right. So
Shazam.
Shazam. We're going to do this one, and I don't think I need the, well, I don't think I need the presentation yet. And if I need the presentation, I'll go to it, because I think what we're working on is
There we go.
good enough.
Okay.
Click on my thing to get you back in full screen there so I can see all the visual cues you give me with your expressions. You see how much teasing I got last night
I did
from
not.
from this I can't, it was all a bunch of stuff like, this is a short. What's wrong with you? Right. And it was like, but then it was lovingly stated because of the stuff. And then it was like, the first comment was, does Brad want you to stop talking or something like that? And the second one was along the similar lines, but it's more teasing us because we're both aware of it.
Right.
And I said, well, it's sort of a game between us, I mean, he wants to make sure that I don't go sideways instead of complete. I want to complete an arc, and the audience wants me to complete an arc. But Brad's always sitting there saying, is this an arc or is it gone down a rabbit?
My job is hard. It's like, I don't know where the arc is trying to go, and lightning does not travel straight.
Yes. So then I said, well, I got a similar issue, is that I have to watch Brad to know if I'm getting any signals that he needs to say something, or is the signal Brad wants to counter signal, and I'm like, I need to be aware of both of those things, but I don't want the counter signal until I finish my arc, because otherwise I'll lose the point, lose the track of the arc.
It's a hard row you tow.
So so it's basically a fun game we have going on here. And so anyway, well, I don't know. I think it's fun. Do you think it's fun? Okay.
I do. I enjoy it.
What's that?
I enjoy it.
All right. So, okay. So, we're looking at the outline. What's got to be consistent. We sort of said we don't know we don't have to know what it is right now. We just I keep this at the top so I know what we're trying to what we're trying to work on. I have some notes. I copied and pasted this post here so that I could make use of it when we get to consciousness. In the introduction, we're going to explain what you're going to learn in this chapter, and then we're going to start with embodiment. And the pattern we're using is to try to keep all the macro arcs and the ones under, right? We're trying to keep this index going so it's easier for people to perceive. I've put the other ones here so that I can include them. We start with homeostasis, which is equilibration, which is the preservation of constant relations, basically persistence within the body, and why that's the fundamental problem of the body. And then we set with the original behavioral causalities in this demand, and then we go through the basic overall arc of what is being processed, the information processing system of the body. So then we start at the bottom, which is the nerves, right? And the neurons. And we say, here's what does it do? What's it type? What does a neuron respond to? How do they vary? What do they do? And that they perform basically disambiguation, which is, it's always this thing is disambiguation organization. The thing is, you have to disambiguate before you can organize, right? I mean, so it sounds like it's two sides of the same coin, but it's really a process. You have to disambiguate, which as a byproduct, if you do enough of it, will produce organization. So disambiguation is the process by which we produce organization.
Yes.
I'm gonna write that right there.
That's good.
All right. Then we say, next we say, how does it function? Right, and so we go in and we have now the section we need to complete, which is how do they survive over time, which is really the biology or maybe the ecology. Is it the ecology in which the neuron lives? Is that sort of, is that,
It's like it's like economics.
right, the economy of what, how it is, the economy of how. And we go to how do neurons compute, which we finally feel like we have a story for. And this is the part I'm unhappy with, which is true statements about what's they're doing, making no sense whatsoever. Because it's not a story. And then we've done pretty good with what are they transmitting? We did good with that. How do neurons work together?
I think there's a funny thing, which I want to discuss for a minute, is that there's perhaps an erroneous assumption that a neural network cannot, a nerve cell can be attached to multiple neural networks and circuits because of the dendrite functionality. And so I want it to be clear that one nerve cell can participate in a number of groups.
Okay, let me walk through this. It works with they're organized into columns. They're organized into regions, right?
Right.
Origins, points of origin. The axons attach to the spine, where they attach to other axons, but they attach to other dendrites that transfer the information up the spinal column here, which goes into the thalamus, which I'm bypassing the cortex, not neocortex, the cerebellum on purpose, just to go up into the thalamus, and they go up into the corresponding region. So this region is up there in your surface of your brain in proximity to each other. I think it's this way, I'm not positive. And they flow up from the thalamus into the first layer or two. Call it layer, I think they call it layer 5, 6, so it's the other way around. Then there's a layers where they oversimplistically talk to each other, and in other words, it talks to itself, right? And others nearby, and then there's the top layer where it talks to things that are farther away. And so you sort of have this, and the output oddly is in that middle, right? So it's like, who's talking next to me?
Yes.
Right? Where's this coming from? And there's output really everywhere, but the main output that seems to produce the circuit is its decision in the center layers. Can't remember if it's 3 or 4. So I'm oversimplifying this on purpose so that I don't have to cover like 9,000 points to make the one point. So it's a pretty, so when you ask, they work in groups. Yes, they work in groups at least 3 levels. They work they work with groups on the physical orientation, because that's what the really first layer is.
Yeah.
It's physical orientation. Where am I? The next layer is what do I do with this? And that's usually mostly with taking information from people, neurons in the same direction. And it's mostly information at the top that's regional, right? Differences. And so yes, you are correct that they work in groups, because just as all existence is sort of like the via negativa positiva, all existence is built of relations, not references, because you can't have a reference without a relation.
Right.
So even references consist of a bundle of relations. In other words, it's all relations all the way down.
Right.
Wish I could remember I hope I remember to talk about physics again in this term. So neurons do work together. Locally, they work together. They work together long distance.
Yes.
They work together locally, internally, locally, and regionally. And then why is it not coming to me how where this goes? I think it's in the upper layers how it's transmitted. I might have to ask this in 1 second.
Is it too much detail?
It's too much detail, but I want to make sure I don't give the wrong answer. So get 1 second. I know I want to make sure I'm thinking about this correctly.
Right.
In the neural neocortex, in the neural microcolumn, layers 5. Yeah, I want to get that far. How, what, where, which layers, layer or layers transmit information beyond the nearby microcolumns, beyond the macro column. They are participating into other regions beyond the region. Beyond the region. The other regions. I think this is a dumb, now that I ask it, it's a dumb question. nearby microcolumns. Nearby. Okay, it's in the middle. It's all coming out of the middle. Thalamus. All right, so this says output. Yeah, so long range communications down there at the bottom. So it's this way and that way.
Right.
That's what goes up. All right, so that's what I was looking for. Okay. No, I lost track of what we were doing. Oh, you want to make the point that they work in groups. How do we have to make the point about how neurons survive, cooperate, organization. How do they work together? Yeah, I think that we want to say it earlier rather than later. We want to say it up here. We want to say it here at the macro level.
Okay.
I'm missing. So this is how they work together, right?
Yeah.
Compute. What are they transmitting? No, we could do it here. No, it goes here. We do the story. And this is then how. Story. We're not, I can spell even neurons today, I'd be happy.
Oh my.
Which is okay. Now you tell me what you wanted to get across because I've gone so far over to the detail that I've lost. You wanted to get across when we were going through this that they work together. And
Well, I'm reconceptualizing it in my mind after that discussion that a neuron can listen to subgroups within its neural network, right? They can be giving disparate messages, but I don't think it's that. Depends on how excited all the elements of the entire group are.
so there.
It's like this. It's like a neuron is attached to a bunch of other neurons.
Yes, yeah.
And how excited that entire group is makes a difference. And sub-elements within the group of neurons that neuron is listening to may cause it to fire more frequently by various combinations, right? And I would say like fire is increased frequency of output, right? Yeah.
Well, this is, here's the thing. So a neuron doesn't make sense except because it can't without other neurons, right?
Right.
Right, because you don't know anything except by coherence, right? So I know, I think before I knew about layers, columns and layers, regions, macro columns, micro columns and layers.
Right.
Before I knew about that, I think I thought like everybody else about neurons, all right, which is that they're just there, right? And they just work together magically. But it's actually the column that does the column working together that produces the outputs. And that column can only work together producing the outputs because it's the columns work together working to do it. And the layers are just a way to isolate the computation.
Specialize the signal processing.
Right, specialize the signal processing. So they can be organized. And so does that story this is a beautiful story. That one's good. Okay, but then we hold on a second. I don't want to get ahead of myself because I've done this before. Now let's go down to the next section is perception.
Okay.
That's where we want to cover it. Okay, so the problem is we create the wrong impression if we don't cover. Oh, we can cover how they work together there while we cover what they do working together here.
Yeah, what can they achieve, right?
Yeah, what can they achieve? All right, so we can do it here. So we deal with cooperate. So it would go above here. Would it, or it would, where is it, how do they work with others? Or it goes here. Great, but we're not covering that part of it. Where do we cover what they do here?
Hmm.
Feels like, how are they organized? How do they work together? How are they organized? Yeah, let's do that. which is division of labor.
Yeah. You
Go ahead, boss.
columns, micro columns, column.
I think we leave columns down there
Okay,
and we just work with,
that's
No.
fine. That's fine. That's real basic.
we got to do layers.
Okay.
Microcolumns. I don't know about microcolumns.
Okay.
The division of. Yeah, but where do I talk about those columns if you mention them there? Layered processing. Oh, that's different. That's not cortical layers. No, we don't introduce it anywhere. So. Over the organization. We haven't talked about structure anywhere else yet. Where do we talk about the structure? We don't. Where should we talk about that?
There,
No, we talk about it later, but hold on a second. We don't, we could. We're trying to construct from a neuron on up.
right. You could, in that section, you were introducing the micro columns and the layers.
Yeah,
You could give a discourse about structure.
yeah.
Number 9.
I think I went past it, didn't
No, it's way up there, I think.
I? Back further?
I think so. Number 9.
No, that's not it.
That one, you could introduce the structures.
Okay.
And what that does is it allows you to so structures from the bottom up, right? And then that allows you to refer to it as later when we talk about biases like sex differences.
Mhm.
And you don't have to cover it in great detail, but just so lobes, right, and gross structures.
Yeah, that's all we gotta do is say how, is give, we need to give enough structure so we can talk about how they
At
work.
later moments, right?
Yeah. And so here,
Because it's a localized function. The neuron is a localized function, and they prefer to work close to with their close mates. And some of them go take trips.
it's a much higher level discussion. So we don't want to have it.
What's that?
Well, we want to have it before we get down into the next section. 10, is that 10 is the last one, or is there 11? Yeah, it's 11.
I don't remember.
That's it.
That's it.
All right, so yeah, we can work on that here. Because it doesn't make any sense. I don't know if it goes there. Give me a second here. Might have been. I might need to move 9 down. I think I move it down and that gets. I think it might be here instead. No, conclusion.
I think it's in a pretty good spot.
In a good spot, you're right. All right. All right. You want to do the work of drilling down on that right now? Is that all right?
Either way.
My mind wants to avoid it, but
I understand the reticence.
need this. Here. So
Yeah.
accept. Yeah, it can't because I'm thinking about associative neuron.
Yes. Yes.
Right, that's the part I was missing there. Oh, cold in here, 1 second. Alexa, what's the temperature?
Right now, it's 64 degrees Fahrenheit. Tonight, expect a low of 53 degrees.
It can be 50 degrees outside and hot in here, and 60 degrees outside and cold in here. I have no fucking idea. It's just,
Hmm.
My friend Todd built his. Todd is what I talk about. Is he did an amazing job. Bought this house for like 300 grand now. I don't know what's worth, a fortune, on a couple of acres out in Redmond, and on what's called the Red Brick Road, which is an old part of the Boston Post Road that goes from Boston to Seattle.
Wow.
And it's neat because it's still layered with brick. In other words, it's still got a brick surface, and the residents are very protective of their little road there.
Oh, yeah.
So one thing that was interesting, he did such a good job of insulating his house. He could use one of those little gas fireplaces that you put in your living room and they just burn gas. You heat the whole house with this stupid thing.
Attaboy.
I love this guy. He's one of those people who I appreciate because he works through the nits, but he does it on physical things, right? I would have at one point I was like, I should just quit this technology thing and go build houses with this guy. Because I would happily do all the money and the stuff just to be able to work with him on designs and never have to worry that it was going to be executed.
Right.
He's also a fan of, he's read the literature on construct. I mean, fundamentally, he's an opera singer, right? So he's fundamentally an artist, right? He's not fat though. He's a skinny redheaded guy.
It's a career buster.
So it's just funny. So he built beautiful, but it was just amazing the quality of house he built. There's great temperature control, very quiet. You can, so here, of course, I'm living in apparently there was a company that built the condominium units and then they shipped them up here and put them in place with so the wooden plaster variant of the Soviet model of building Khrushchevkas, right? Anyway, and so the heat, everything's great in this building except that temperature does not seem to work across the floors. Anyway, so back to this. Make the point that it's relations, all something or nothing. Make the something nothing. The signature has nothing to compare or compete with. Honest, can I take the fucking highlight off now that I'm looking at this?
Yeah.
Peripheral nervous system.
Yeah. So it acts as a bridge that processes the information of the senses into motor output activity or motor activity. I like sense story.
Don't encourage me.
All right.
That
Sorry.
was actually good.
Right?
That's actually genius.
And it was, it's,
It's actually brilliant. The
put
story.
a S before Tory, sense story, right? That's what it's doing.
Yeah.
And what I really like about it's associative,
Mhm.
which is the process how by which it does it. It's associating the stories to the senses and making it make sense at the moment for our motor output.
Mhm.
When it's sufficiently exciting,
Oh my God, you can, this has legs.
yes, that's right.
That somebody's gonna pick up on that.
That was a good typo. About might do.
So
Hmm. Which is it? Um,
go ahead.
um, associative neurons must associate with other neurons.
Oh, I said this better.
There it is. I think you just say an associative neuron has nothing to compare or compete with on its own.
Correct.
That's two twos.
Two twos make four. Isn't that good? Isn't more better? Oh, more was better.
Four is twice as better. Exactly twice as better. What's interesting is this extreme simplicity of the arrangement. it's extremely simple in its functionality, and it can do the amazingly complex work due to the immense quantity of connections.
Mhm. You might have just given me an idea. So easy to think of it as, it's not right, but let's say you numbered all dendrites
Okay.
from the from the first dendrite out of the the cell body, right? The soma, right? Numbered them all as they grew, right? You could the higher there's an inverse relationship between the number and its weight. The higher the number, the lower the weight.
Each dendrite's weight is, right.
Right. But what number, think of it, what number can't those dendrites produce? Almost none. So what they're seeking to do is produce the capacity to produce any number. So we think of positional numbers, right?
Right.
We just use 0 to 10 to 9, and then we use positional names to add things together, right? So
Right.
11, 12, 13, 20, 30. Those
Yeah.
are positional numbers using the same number of glyphs. It doesn't have glyphs. It just has numbers.
And I don't think each dendrite has the same weight.
No, but that's what I'm saying, right?
It's just it's a peculiar arrangement.
Oh, but it is the farther away, the lower the weight. Right? They can't, that's the thing, is this dendrite can only increase its weight by the number of synapses it can form, but it's limited in energy production to the number of synapses it can form on any branch of a dendrite. Right? Because it's always got to come down to, here's this thing, here's a hair, turns into a spike.
Yeah.
Right? And
Because they can only supply so much through
they can
the
only apply so much chemistry to it. And so that's the why they get bigger, is so more chemistry can get there. So, and even then, the both sides of the synaptic cleft, they have to have the chemistry to transfer the charge. So this is why you find that you get the way they create the ability to handle frequency is by creating volumes of connections, right? Because there's only so fast that the various membranes on both sides of the cleft can recharge their chemistry.
That's right.
And so it's more that you get more the more frequency you have, right? Because if you're slow, right, you only need one, two, three, God knows how many connections. But if you're like dumping information all across, you need a huge number of axon terminals to meet a huge number of dendrites for the I always forget the cell. The bouton is the export side. I can always remember the penis, but I can't remember the vagina. Think about it that way.
Okay.
I did that. I led up to that just so I could mess with you, and I got no reaction. And now I'm freaking disappointed.
I have that's to reduce the strength of that signal. We don't want to encourage such behavior.
the transmitting side, the synapse is the boson on the axon terminal. What is the receiving side of the dendrite called? Because I forget all the effing time.
Oh my.
Oh, I have to click the,
You have to hit the right click.
why it sticks in my head. I've only wrote that because I'm curious if it actually says anything.
See if it tells you to calm down.
The dendritic spine, that's not right. Sites, yeah, what's the site called? The post synapse, see, that's not right. They've just gotta, we got a Bhutan. How about Bhutan, penis, and dendritic vagina. Vagina, would that work? Guess I could spell a little better.
A little bit. That was perfect.
So you can find humor in working with an AI. You really can. Okay, fine. Well, it makes sense because when you're talking about the nerves hitting the spine, right?
Yes.
It makes sense that it would connect to the spine. But what is the name? What is the name for the divot on the spine of the dendrite? Dendrite, because
But I look at it as the synaptic cleft.
that's the space. That's what everybody does. They call it the synaptic
Yes.
cleft. That's what everybody does in all the literature, but that's the space.
Yes, I understand. I understand. It doesn't have an invagination, right? To create does the dendritic spine have an invagination to create the synaptic space?
Invagination.
Yes.
Did you just make that up?
No.
Really?
Come on, Kurt. I'm not that creative.
You did the story thing earlier.
Oh my.
It is a structure that conveys opportunities. That's actually the right word.
I'm more aware of that. That's why I used it.
You know, sometimes this is one of those fucking times.
Just once in a while. It's like a stopped clock.
Fuck. We just call it dendritic invagination, and I think we're good.
It's not very big.
I know this. I just want to know what to fucking call it. Okay, what is that? Fuck you.
See that little divot right there? Yeah.
Okay, so it's not as, what they're saying is not as, it doesn't form as visible a structure.
Right.
It's, and so that's why they're not giving it as a structural a name. Let me see if there are any others here that are. That's right, that's what it is. I like when they do this, now they really screw you up. Oh, that's in the CA one, that's why, that's in the Cornomonas. That looks right to me. See, this is how you usually see it illustrated.
Yes. It's like all stylized, right?
Well, see, when they illustrate it like this, that's what you think. I mean, because I mean, we've got, electron microscope views of this stuff. It's scary what's going on in
Oh yeah.
there. That's the stuff that's like, okay, you creationists. I mean, I get why you think it, man. It just, you know, I understand.
They,
Uh,
their conceptualization of creation is let's just say cartoonish.
well, but what I mean is, I can get why you would get there, right?
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't. It's not like you have to have an you can have a cartoonist and childish or immature understanding of such things, right? But it's not like, well, I mean, if I didn't know what you did, now I mean, I might come to that conclusion too, right? I
Well,
mean,
it goes to evolutionary computation, and it's just how you state evolutionary computation,
yes. So the big thing I think that's hard,
which is a creative process.
yes, but I think the hard part is just like our neurons do all this stuff in parallel, evolution worked in extraordinary parallelism, right?
Yes,
Right. So it's really fast. That's why bacteria are so fast at adapting. I mean,
that's right.
right, it's because there's zillions of them, right? And only somebody has to figure it out.
Only one or two, and that will be sufficient. And they are all loaded with precursors to make the evolutionary jump necessary to survive. And they have all the incentive in the world, right?
The neocortex in the brain.
Composed.
But there's only one. I don't know how I managed to screw that up.
Detectable. Okay.
Let it into.
I would say symbols.
I don't like that because that's abstract.
Signals. Okay. We can recognize and respond to.
Okay.
Yes. Remembering.
I want to say experiencing.
Okay. Yeah.
There's something smart to be said here. So
There's what?
something smart to be said here. So just as an ant sees the world in its scale and time frame. in relation to its body form. We see the world in our scale and time frame. Scale and time frame and ability to act in relation to its time frame. We see the world in our scale and ability. This does not mean the world. This is not necessarily. I see a different world, universe by different laws, but that we interpret universe according to our ability to perceive and act within it, given our body and mind's ability to make use of it for our survival, flourishing. That's why I love working with you.
Why is that?
Because we just talked for a long time about a subject, but we just wrote something that explains. There's so many fallacies out there in the world that are answered by this, this paragraph.
Right. I think I would put Vitruvianism in there as a parenthetical, just to point. It's going to come up later.
Right, one phenomenon, many phenomena.
That's correct.
I don't know why that I know that it doesn't come out of my fingers correctly. So it's like keystrokes. Sometimes words, sometimes ideas, they don't come out the right way. Well, it's phenomena as well as this chapter's purpose. Vitruvianism, this planet. Personal Vitruvianism. The Vitruvian Man.
Yeah. action.
Yeah. Why can't I advertise? Why can't I, JUDG, judgeable, commensurable, judgeable. I write it without the hyphen all the time. I said this Steve Saylor yesterday. He sent out a joke, some joke, which was like, is anti-whiteness with an what's the dash? A hyphen or without a hyphen? And I said, not that this is a serious goddamn question, but technically speaking, you use a hyphen until it's incorporated in the vocabulary, at which point we drop the hyphen. So it's just a matter of time. And he responded with a chuckle or something like that. But yeah, same issue. I do this because I just assume everybody's going to need to know that. But let's just keep
It's carts and horses.
right. To be converted something judgeable, and therefore actionable.
Now, does that paragraph need to be broken up a little bit?
It absolutely does. I was just about to do that before you gave me that brilliant little insight there about Vitruvianism.
Sorry,
No, it's okay.
I don't want to interrupt the flow. There you go. So just as you can't have nothing, that's the break.
Mhm.
There you go. There's another break there.
Here?
That was it. No, that was it. That was it.
Well, I think this might.
Yeah, I was thinking that place.
You were thinking there?
I was thinking there with a this does not necessarily mean as the proper place to break it.
This. And I think that this goes here. Yes. Judgeable, predictable. Forgot one.
Yeah. Now this, what we haven't done, which we thought we were going to do, fix Da Vinci, please.
Duh.
Capital V, yeah.
Yeah. Why is this not Vitruvian, right? That's correct.
Add it to the dictionary. So if you go scroll up to number 9, we were going to talk about structures. And we sort of did.
This is the break.
Yes.
Right. The editors will make us cut this, but I don't care. I like it. I think it's funny. On motor coordinate. Is that right? Stimuli. Want to do layers or columns first? We'll do layers first, because then I can go from layers to regions. Well, I can go layers to micro.
Layers, columns, regions.
Yeah, exactly. Do I need to say that?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think I need to say that. In, on. I just want to say the bottom two do this, the middle two do this, and the top two do this.
Okay.
I want to see something that's simple. This is a different one. Yes. I like that word. What word did you come up with there? The
Invagination?
imagination. Did we put that in somewhere? We didn't do that yet.
No.
That's what we're doing. Okay, that's what we're gonna do. Invagination. That's a really good word.
It's those doctor guys, they do stuff.
They do stuff. You doctor guys know stuff. Invagination. So that what there's got to be is there a expenalation or something to go with invagination?
They say Bhutan because they don't want to sound rude.
I see. That's what it is. I kind of like the sexual connotation.
Oh yeah.
I suppose you're not going to let me get away with that in the book, are you? You know,
Probably not.
probably. Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to get it past the editors anyway.
Yeah. I gotta remember. Okay. Invagination. I like that word. And then I don't have to make it up.
It's even better, right?
That's even better.
You are going to specialize on those layers.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
There you are.
I want to do it at the bottom. I want to do it from bottom up. No, this is wrong. It's not right. Sends.
I would
What?
I would make them
Bullets.
yeah,
No, you're always right. It's kind of annoying, really.
sorry.
I say it's annoying, but it's actually truth is, it's fucking charming and is profoundly useful. But you know,
I understand.
I can't just sit here
Yeah, I know.
and be puffy and complimentary the whole time. I
Yeah, I
got
know.
my subway.
I know how it is.
You know how it is, right? Isn't that weird how men know that something is ingenuous if if something is ingenuous, something is genuine.
Yes, I
I'm like,
understood that too.
like what? It's not disingenuous. No, something is genuine and sincere if we say it to each other sarcastically.
Yes.
It's just so weird. It's basically saying you can trust me, you can trust, right? You can trust me, you can trust me, you can trust me, you can trust me. It's fantastic. Um, okay, so major. Hmm. What do I have to say this?
It seems a little extreme.
No, I have to say this part. I don't, the question is, do I, can I just say, the, I can just continue this paragraph with, columns, microcolumns, columns, and cortical regions. That's all I have to say here,
Yes.
right? These layers are organized into microcolumns of neurons, macro columns of microcolumns
right?
and functional regions. And regions performing performing similar functions. And then divided into two hemispheres. Here's right.
I would write lobes,
You want to put
lobes, right?
Yep.
With specialized lobes, right?
Yep, to functions, accumulating, consolidate. No, that's wrong. Organized into lobes of similar functionality,
Mm-hmm.
and then divided into two hemispheres, right and left, that are connected through I forgot it again.
Corpus callosum.
The best bridge. Okay, now I've laid it out, right?
Change extends to extend.
I should use caps to indicate.
It's callosum, isn't it?
Yes, thank you. Why do I want to write Colosseum? Actually, you know what? I can actually tell you. It's because my mind, I'm looking at the corpus callosum, I'm looking at a brain cut in half so you can see it, and it looks like the fucking seats at the Colosseum, right? I mean, it literally does. I mean, all right. At least I know why my subconscious wanted to write Colosseum.
I thought it was because you were thinking about Rome again.
Oh God, did it again. I can't believe it. You're like, okay, so for the audience, all right? For the audience, you gotta understand. Brad is incredibly stoic and he has it down. If we all could learn how to do the kind of stoicism Brad is capable of, we would be so much happier in this world. But Brad does go through periods of stress, which I doubt most of you can detect, but because he's someone I love deeply and my close friend, I can detect them. So what's happened is Brad has experienced a period where a business stress he had is now over with, and now he's free, has all this energy to tease me with.
Oh my. It's not in your dictionary.
You're not denying it, are you?
I'm not going to deny anything.
Oh, right. So I'm going to do this. So neurons. How do I do this? Neurons. It's columns, microcolumns.
Yeah.
Columns. Column. I'm already on the next word. My fingers are saying like, fuck you, wait a minute. I haven't finished this yet. Macro columns. Regions. Lobes. You gotta spell so I can put the lobes. So I should say neurons. Layers.
It's associative neurons though, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
You have to get it in there somewhere, right?
Yes.
columns or macro columns, regions, lobes,
Hemispheres. Yep.
and that's the neocortex, right? Or that's the right?
I think so.
Is that the correct? Is this correct? The word I'm worried about the last one.
Yeah, that's one I'm thinking of. Huh, I like that.
This is why I love this fucking thing. Now, what would I do normally? I would go, spend 10 minutes trying to find out, okay, am I right here?
It can be refined. Let's see what it tells us.
Mini columns. See, this is what drives you nuts. You have to know when they use a column, the word column, you have to know which author's talking to know what the
Yeah.
fuck they're talking about.
That is the same sequence.
It said the same thing. Did I
Yeah.
not do it in the right order?
No, it said the same thing.
Layers, micro columns, columns, regions, right? Lobe,
Yeah.
hemispheres, neocortex.
Nice. That's a satisfactory response.
I like knowing I'm right, but I actually like knowing that there's like, okay, you're wrong on this, because then I feel like, okay, now it's there.
There
Like,
you go. Right.
why I like critics like you and Brad and Brandon and Martin and Luke.
It's a refining process.
I don't know, as long as people love me enough, or at least tolerate me enough to give me help, I'm all in. I'm kind of wondering if we want to use this summary here.
Oh, that might be good. Just to put it in after that little bit. I don't think you need the 6 layers.
I do, boss. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I only need the 6 layers in this density. Well, let's do the layers. Did I already ask that?
You did ask the layers.
Didn't I do that already?
You haven't put them in. You were starting to put them in. Was it on the other one?
No, I think it's here. This is when we were talking about vaginas.
There it is.
Yeah, this is what I want to do. I want to do this. I'm okay once it's in there if we say, yeah, we got the point across. This is,
Okay.
I want to have it in there. Sends out major thalamus attention, other cortical regions. Major output layer transmitting out to other regions, the brain, body. Okay, that's okay. Regions.
between hemispheres.
Cross hemispheres.
Okay. Yeah.
Hmm. This is a really bad explanation.
What is?
It's basically your tension layer. I'm gonna try to do this. Output,
Yeah.
tension. Now, 3 is where all the magic happens. They actually combine these. And if you look at it you look at the slices,
Yeah.
it's very, and the other thing is, oh, I didn't put this. From the body. Okay, where is this? 6 layers. 3 layers.
Okay.
Space. These layers, these layers vary in thickness across the regions of the brain depending upon their thickness and density. It's really density. Cross, there's a depending upon the
Specialization.
specialization. The need for that region to specialize, to bias its efforts to specialize or in the formation. It's processing, calculating. Easily.
Would change, it's associating to it processes. Okay.
I think I want to break here.
All right.
Divided into 6 layers, blah, 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 blah. These layers are organized into micro columns. Boom. Boom. Regions,
Yeah.
lobes,
Yeah.
hemispheres, bridge. Yeah. Um,
Yes. Yeah,
which we call that, what do you call it, bilateralism.
yes.
Layers 2 and 3. This is where all the work is done. That's where all the work is done.
Looks like it.
Yeah, it doesn't say it here though.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, but all the work is done. Work in a micro column and region is done in layers 2 and 3, which are sort of combined. What work is being done there that that and how can we categorize it such that the rather unique amount of effort, well, categorize such that the purpose of these layers is understood.
That's nice.
Thank you. That's what I was looking for. Horizontal connectivity, long-range communication of what? See, yeah, but see, this is the major output layer for the motor system. And some
Okay.
additional information. This is why you need our book. Because if you read the literature, this is what it reads like. And it's like, yeah, but what's the operational? And it's actually, I mean, you can look at it and see what it's doing. So this is what we want.
That's it.
There we go. That's what we want. Might even be a better word.
Yes.
Higher order. It's higher order. I think we need to work that in there. Okay, can I just can I just be silly for a minute?
Of course,
I gotta go back to this, okay? Now, look, if I say a coliseum, right? It looks like a coliseum.
it does.
But when I look at it, and that's a soft, fuzzy, mushy brain thing, all right? And it
Right?
looks like a coliseum. But doesn't a callosum look like a callus? See, that's just wrong somehow. I think my spelling's better. No, you're not
All
gonna.
right. I'll put it in my
I just-
notebook for spelling supremacism.
Spelling, oh my God. I didn't even, I was like, there's a half-second delay there. I'm like, whoa.
I don't have a problem with that. If you didn't think your spelling was superior, I would feel something was wrong with you. Somehow you're deficient, seeking an authoritative body to justify what you do.
I had a hard time. I actually have a hard time with this all the time. Is because I use therapists like most people use the doctor. I'm having this life problem. I don't want to burden my friends. I'm not married anymore, so I can't have the word. So I was like, and I think more people should do that because it's just way easier than because you pay them to listen to your stupid shit, right? Your spouses, your kids, your relatives, they have a shorter tolerance for your stupid shit.
That's right.
So of course I have to teach them all the same. Every time I switch one, because I've moved around a lot, you say, I said they try to think they have this thing of there's a thing called grandiosity in
Okay.
psychology, and it's basically one of the signs that there's something wrong with you, right? And I'm like, no, I'm just fucking arrogant. It's not the same thing.
Listen,
But I'm disagreeable. I'm arrogant, and the problem is I'm right a lot. So I mean, what? I mean, I'm just.
a positive feedback loop.
It's just like, well, I don't think I'm wonderful, right? It's not about me, but it's that because I'm just some short nerdy guy, right?
That
So
happens to be right a lot.
I just happen to be right a lot. No, not my fault. So now, even now, one of my because I've maintained a friendship with one of them. She says, "Well, God knows that." She basically teases me about my arrogance all the time. I'm like, if I was that arrogant, I wouldn't go around seeking out people who criticize me to make me better. I mean, well, come on. I mean,
Right?
I'm not arrogant because it's my ego. I'm arrogant because I don't know what else to do.
I don't have any choices.
My son is me without the stresses, and it's so funny to watch him because he's thinking like, but he's not a warrior at all. Like, you know what I mean? He's a nice guy. And I always say, I would be like you if I hadn't had all the crises and stresses and traumas and shit in my life. It's just fascinating. Um, I get to see him soon too, because when we're out in the
Oh, that's good.
um,
I think this feedback loops is interesting.
yes. This is an output. Okay, so hold on. Let's say we input. Information integration. In integration. How did I do that one?
There you go. Put a comma in there.
Uh, Comma and where, dear?
After integration. Yep.
Now I gotta do the Oxford comma or whatever the hell it is. All right,
That connect needs to have a lowercase on
thank you.
it. There's the plasticity function.
Yeah, let me get this one first.
Yes,
I'm having trouble keeping up.
I know. Okay.
Right. Remember, we're only gone through half of the information here, so hold on. This is important. Additionally, okay, so no, this is like this is a bullet point.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Whoa. There you go.
See, this is one of the words. Would I use the word crucial and significant?
Yes. No,
They're nonsense words.
they're pedantic.
This is where all the work gets done. See, it's always this.
Okay.
Critical's good here.
Yeah. That's so much work being done there. We're not done yet. That was what I want you to add in,
What?
that last bit. Allow the memory issue. The purpose part on number 4.
No, I've got you. I'm looking for where to put it.
Okay.
Okay, so. Oh, I see. No, you're so smart.
Yep.
This goes first.
Okay.
No, let's do it this way. I don't know. I can't figure out which. I want to make that point really badly.
Which one? Yep. 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 Yep.
That's, I think, one of the things I like here.
But
See, I don't know if I'm not always making that point here.
yeah, but now you're like specifying what you've already said up there.
Is that okay or not?
I think it's okay.
This way by connecting.
Yes.
This is really, when I said this, I wanted to get these ideas across, but mostly it's that this is that this is a really interesting division of labor, and layer 1 is
Yes.
is just utility layer. Yeah. Where's layer
Way
1?
up, way up.
Layer 1 doesn't do shit.
Still go up. There you are.
Okay, give me a bitter, please.
So close. A smart thing.
Feedback. No, it's modulation. Feedback. Coordination. Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. That's what we want. Synchronization. That's what I want.
Hmm. Between layers, right?
Yeah.
It's local between layers, is that correct?
It's local between layers. Okay, regulates. It's really that. So this is, what do you say to synchronization? Contributes to generation of corpus, regulates and modulates, and then synchronize. And as a consequence, other layers in the microcolumn, and then contributes to the generation of modulation of the cortical rhythms across. So I don't feel like I'm doing a good job of getting here. So you're up there and you're like, okay, I see what everybody's doing. Guys, you're falling behind.
Pick it up a little bit, right?
Pick it up a little bit, or and because it's like, so it's ensure. They, it has to be together. I didn't get a yes from you that time.
I'm just seeing what you're putting. You want to close that parent quotation mark. Not there, but maybe there.
Or else.
You could have take away the one you just put in and put it at the end of frames.
Thank you. I think I got, and that's not long, right?
It's not too long. It's a couple pages maybe. And it was quite well done because it describes the physical organization of the brain and their functions.
This positional make sends the regions. See, I'm not getting this across. So when we say positional, we actually mean
Of the body, right?
it only does inclusion, it doesn't do exclusion. Jesus, Brad, this is good.
Now, there's a formatting issue here. Layers are not all bolded. The layer one is bolded.
Oh, that's wrong. Don't like as a consequence.
Yes.
What are alpha? What is that? Inhibition. Where is it? That's not a very good. How do they summary? Yeah, how do gamma? How do gamma simulations into help in integrating information across the brain regions? That's not right.
It hasn't made fun of your misspelling of oscillations yet.
No, I actually don't know. I don't know. OSCIL. Oh, God. Why is that OOSC? I'm just not hitting the S hard enough.
Not at all.
So it's synchronization. Uh, Syn. Yeah.
Yeah, it's across the brain.
Right. And lower competition. And by noise competition. The result is reducing. Okay. Okay. Yeah, blah, blah. I know all that. Okay. Okay. How are neurons organized? We answered that fucking question.
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did.
You happy now?
I'm hella happy with this section. Knowing. So what do we call this? This is oh, I really can't spell today. Organization. What is it? My position, my keyboard of into layers.
Yeah.
Okay, then we'll go into How can they know anything?
It's functional.
What do they do? What does it do? What do they do? What does that organization produce?
Right? It's a more generalized look at their function.
See, I want to get
Yeah.
Jesus, Brad, this is good. Okay. Are you okay with one more try, or are we late? We run late.
You can do one more try.
Oh, come on. I'm watching your face here and you're grinning. And I'm like, you said,
I'm looking at this part. I'm like, this part. I'm like, okay. Go up there. We need to look at this part we're on now.
this is what
Okay, because this is how the dendrites compute. Right?
now I can't remember if I said it in this conversation or in one of the, I don't remember when I said it. I said, and I hate to do this because now I'm sort of riffing off Cantorian logic, which is really bothering me. But I can say, no, I'll push that aside, and I'll go with what's his name's computability issue. Oh fuck. Anyway, it's escaping me now. The absence of closure issue. Anyway, so what you would do, so here, I want to run this argument by again, so see if it makes sense. What we're doing is we're figuring out, you got to tell a story, right, in these places, and the stories seem to work, because the stories give a context, and then we can use operational names for the functions of different parts, right?
Right.
So we give an operational description of it. And so the thing is, there's talking about a thing like dendritic computing is actually really hard. So I gave this example. I've been thinking about this for what, a week now,
Yeah.
and so I come back to the one I don't know if it was earlier that I proposed, which is, look, how do you illustrate what these things can do in in these massive parallels?
Yes.
I've been working with the visuals of touch, which is the sparse activation problem, which is if you, instead of looking at neurons from the side, you look at them from the top.
Yeah.
And you see all you see from the top is the firing of the axon hillock. What you'll see literally is a firing pattern.
Right.
Right? You literally see dots.
Yes. Yes.
All right. And so I'm like, well, okay, so each dot is essentially a number or a name.
Right.
And then the influence of that dot has to do with the variables of how far is it away from the cell body, right? How many connections does it have to the same stimuli, which could be from one other set of axons or 10 other sets of axons or whatever, right? And so these things are producing patterns, right, that fire,
Right.
where the amplitude, so there's a friction, just like there's a friction in axons that limits the transmission of the axon potential, right, the charge, right?
Right.
And what, just so we need those things those cells that are really cool. They develop a flap and then they wrap around.
Schwann cells.
Exactly. And they insulate it from the charge from decay. So that doesn't exist up in the dendrites.
No.
So there's a decay of charge. So a high charge out here will result in a contribution to charge in here.
Right.
Right? So so we don't want to tell all that story.
No.
We want to make people understand operationally, it's some analogy to normal human experience, that these things can both identify an infinite number of patterns, right? But
Yeah.
how can they weigh them? How can they tell how important they are? And it has to do with, because this soma doesn't know where those charges are coming from.
Right.
It only knows that
Is it enough?
or is it enough? That's all it fucking knows. And so there's a very rich process of telling this neuron to fire, right, through different sets of activations. It's different when you get down to neurons firing, because we can look down on neurons firing, like I said.
Right. Right.
And we can see this is fire. So that's a sparse activation pattern. But up here in the dendrites, it's not a sparse activation.
It's very rich.
Right? So you've got to turn a dense activation pattern into a sparse activation pattern across multiple neurons. That's what you're trying.
No.
Huh?
No, it's the other way around.
What? All right, so I said it the wrong way. No. Yep. Oh, yeah. Go ahead, say it.
The dendrites produce a sparse activation pattern that is condensed into a dense activation pattern. So you look at it like this, we would turn it into a social analog.
Okay. Oh, yeah,
Okay.
you said this before. Go ahead.
It's like the social analog is you're looking for something that excites you to do something or not, right? And if you go to the football game, it's a dense, you're getting a signal from a large number, and you know when to get excited because your side just scored a touchdown or something, right?
Yes.
Even if you were busy drinking your beer and looking at your girlfriend, right? When you're in church, you know it's time to pray when everybody quiets down, right? When you're on the street and you see the thug coming at you, you know that's dense enough, right? To act. And that's all the neuron is looking for. Just what do I need to act?
Right.
And so it has a rich set of potentials that it is paying attention to. That is reinforced when it gives a signal, right? The connection is reinforced whenever it takes the signal.
All right, so I can use the two metaphors. Just like we have to use the two, I'm getting there. Just like we have to use the two metaphors of touch and sound to express sight, we have to use the two metaphors of the assigning numbers and the crowd to get the point across. That shouldn't be difficult to do.
No, I don't think so. See, because I look at the birds, right? We have these quails. They
I
are.
look at birds too, but I think what the birds I'm talking about is a pseudonym for the birds.
We understand one another. These they're the same in their functionality. These birds are very sensitive, okay?
Mhm.
So when one bird detects something that creeps them out, they all run away.
Yep.
And so that
So it's the number of bird, in the case of neurons, it's how far away, how close are the birds to me? This might be a good analogy. You might have hit it. how close are the birds to me? Right.
How creepy you are, right? Because you can walk up to a bird if you're far away and he doesn't care.
Right, right, right.
But if you hit this threshold, he's gonna fly away, man, because you're too close.
There's this new trend going around, which I'm finding absolutely fascinating. In research for a long time, we've had animal tagging and
Yes,
transmission of um,
location.
location. So we've been able to track different animals and their patterns. And the one that seems to be the most interesting is wolves, because they sort of develop territories like countries.
Yes,
And cats are a super predator, but they're
yes,
actually really afraid of each other. So,
wisely.
and they have for in a neighborhood, right? So a wolves range far, right? I mean, so the more food you need, the farther you've got to range, because the cats don't. The cats range farther than you think across a neighborhood, right? So they develop these cat networks and such. But what's been interesting is they've got this little camera now that they can put on the cat under its chin.
Oh
They'll
my.
record what the cat is doing all day. And it's absolutely fascinating to have a cat. Because, we were saying, what's it like to be a bat is the philosophical question, right?
Right?
What's it like to be a cat? And it's no different from to being cat is no different from being you and me, because we're basically predators, and it's kind of vulnerable, kind of like us, right? It's got claws and we got tools, but I mean, they don't work like dogs do in groups, right? So you watch them go along, and the interesting thing is how many different vocalizations they have. It's like 100, not like 100. It's around 100, right? They have all these vocalizations they do to communicate all this stuff, and it's fascinating. I'm like, it's like the freaking whales. At least though I can understand the cat, right? I mean, you can vaguely grasp what the cat is doing. I don't know what the hell the whales are doing, but the cat you can understand. So it's actually fascinating to walk around, because we're talking about this thing right now, which was Vitruvianism a few minutes ago. What's it like to be a human? Well, or what's it like to be a man? Well, we're getting a pretty good view of what it's like to be a cat. And what's interesting is it's not that different, except that they're really low to the ground.
Yes.
Their vision is a lot different from ours. Like they actually can't see much up close. I don't know if you know that or not. They
Oh,
can't
that's interesting.
see things very close. And one of the reasons they'll die if they can't smell is they can't actually see the food. So they have to be able to smell the food. So anyway, you get all this goofy stuff. So it's just fascinating to watch how they move around. But you brought up birds. The capacity of a bird to see a cat, if it's not moving, is terrible.
Yes.
If it's moving at all, the birds are amazing at detecting the motion of a cat, and the squirrels are only slightly better. But my dog could catch birds, which I think is, I mean, it's a fucking golden retriever. How does hell did he do that? Well, it's probably because there's just too much going on and the bird can't see the dog. Of course, we had the short-haired pointer when he was like, bird, bird. And I had the golden retriever, squirrel, and the golden and the German short-haired pointer, bird. And it's like, okay, the animals are crazy in the neighborhood, and neither of them. The only one, for some reason, my golden retriever hated cats, or just felt like cats needed to be exorcised from the territory. Anyway, so back to that doesn't seem like it's related to what we're doing, but it is. It's
I let you process as you will.
So, but I did want to say that you've been out watching birds because your wife is a bird watcher type. My preferred thing is sitting in a cafe with a cup of coffee, a laptop, or a good book and watching birds. But
I
it's
understand.
kind of birds,
No, we
especially
understand
Moscow or Kiev or Lviv or somewhere like that.
Right.
Okay. The birds in America are very fat, by the way. They're overfed. I don't know how they fly. Okay.
I understand. I understand.
You're not going to let me go on any further.
I will let you do what you need to do. But we have to solve that unhappy with problem. Because I think that's, if you get your story there, you will be able to fit it in properly.
Okay, so I feel like we've got we've got a pretty close one over our
Because
discussion.
it's like, the issue is this, the social story, right? The analog,
We
and
can
then
set a
this
number.
is how they do it. With these network variations, synaptic variations, and nonlinear communication, right?
Yeah, I think you just made me get rid of the numbers analogy because I can do it by names. All right, so, okay, so we can do it by, I'm up here and I'm trying to listen to the conversation, right? And we can do it with birds.
Whatever, however you want to do it, and it's like, but you make the analog fit into the detail that follows that you're unhappy with.
Okay, I think that this is, yeah, this is crap. But I covered that already. That's probably effective. I don't know. In this statement, I don't know how that would happen other than the organization itself. In this passage, I have, how is it other than by modifying the structure, the physical? No. I don't, I think this is another. That's the same thing. Right, it's all physical.
Yes.
This is true. It's just frequency though. I would have to go into, in order to answer this, I would have to go into the charges within the ions and I'm not going down there.
Good.
This is just structural.
So I think the summary of it is this, is they can dampen or amplify signals by physical means that are dynamic in their functionality.
All right, but that would be in response to feedback.
The dendrites exist in a feedback mechanism system.
This is okay. How am I going to do this? Hold or let me do it this way. This is good. This is okay. That's true. Yeah, we're not answering the fundamental question though. Which is, how does it know? It doesn't know.
Wait, go back up there.
Well,
What was the, continue, what is the question that we're answering?
how does
How
it
does it compute?
how does the neurons compute with dendrites?
It has a feedback loop that makes it a dynamic system.
Timing, location, and recognition signals, which is backpropagation. So they get a response back. What response is received in the following passage? What signals? I think it's just going to be the hormone.
Yes.
Transmitted from the cell body to the dendrite by backprop. Oh, see, it hasn't got it. Let's just do that.
Okay.
Transmitted. I think this is going to be, and why, and how does, and is the transmission ladders? It's all going to be timing. Did I just fuck you up? Yes, I did. See, no, you're not, no.
So it's the back propagation is interesting. That's the action potential travels down the dendrite back to the source, and it reinforces the ones that signal to go.
Oh, I'm not seeing that. That's what I want to know. The primary signals to the dendrites by backpropagation or action potentials are electrical impulses that have successfully traveled down the axon are then propagated into the tree. Okay, I know that. They provide timing information. So there's a delay. Okay, great. Yeah, I know that. I know that. Target. The extent to which action can travel down the dendrite depends on several factors, including the density of distribution on voltage graded anion tails, the morphology of the, yeah, it's just the same thing. The general propagation do not target specific synapses, but rather spread throughout the dendritic arbor, right? Diminishes with distance to the soma due to passive cable properties. I think I don't talk about it here, but I talk about it in the slides of the book.
Yeah.
That the formula for undersea cable transmissions and the formula for neurological transmissions are identical. Um, which is why we have repeaters in undersea cables.
That's right. That's right.
Local dendritic properties and sector can influence how far strong AV pays. Right, so it's just a flaw. It's as dumb as it is out. So what's the delay? So what is the okay, so given that neurons fire at rather high hertz, how long is there a relationship between the extant charge chemical composition of the dendritic spine, no, the synapses, I'll just guess it, the synapses on the dendrites and the feedback from back I'm gonna get more coffee. Thank you. I knew I would get there. I knew it. Oops. Yeah. Second message cascades. Yeah. Yeah, you're not telling me the answers. Okay. The relative timing, whether synapses are strengthened or weakened. Okay, so they look for coordination of timing.
Because the dendrite fires a signal, right? And if the neuron activates when that signal fires, it's reinforced, is my understanding of it.
Right, so it's basically timing. If the timing is off, it
I don't get reinforced.
The timing is on, it's reinforced.
That allows the tree to adjust its dial to be more in coherence with the signal that's coming in.
I love how they go down to the nit, but they don't explain the operational context in the as okay, what are we trying to do here? We're trying to explain consciousness. Because what's the other fucking point? Right? Because consciousness is either stable or it's unstable, right? You mean you get a liberal that way? Oh, excuse me, I didn't mean that. Sorry, I didn't.
It was
I went
implied.
sideways for a second. All right, so the story is. Yeah, let me just get
I'm
this.
going to tell you the story again. I'm going to tell you it in a different way, okay?
Okay.
You're in the coffee shop or in the church or wherever you are, and you have a wide variety of social friends, right? And when someone smart tells you to do something smart and you do something smart, you increase your friendship with that person so that you get more better communication from that person and that group of people that tell you better things. Unless you've been drinking and the GABA receptors prevent you from remembering that you shouldn't be paying attention to those people.
Oh, I mean, you get a really, you get, yeah, so our tendency is to think of it, partly because neurons fire these sums and at frequencies, we still tend to think of everything as digital because we're so programmed to that, but dendrites produce the analog signals.
That's right.
So you analog to digital.
It's an analog receiving set, right?
Yes, so
But it's responding to the digital output of the neuron, the cell body.
digital. So outputs from neurons are digital, but calculations by dendrites are digital analog.
That's right.
And this is what allows, which is what allows for the complex calculation of input information into dense or rich or whatever is clear output information. Right.
So I look at the dendritic tree as an antenna.
Yeah,
That it's a dynamic antenna, right?
Let's see if we can work with that. The dendritic arbor
It's a very good term.
tree functions as an antenna that in some complex
Exceedingly complex information, yes.
into meaningful simple information. That's good. Don't like this. All this needs to go away. These I don't like it.
I'd say, see, you're like perhaps over explaining it.
It's over explaining is what I'm saying.
Right,
So,
I'm saying that the piece that you're objecting to,
yes.
it has, you can merely mention that those are patterns by which it can be modified and
I'd
function.
rather just describe what's the story of what's going on.
Yes. And I think that we've come to a pretty good understanding in that little bit we were just working on.
So we start with the story. Well, it's fucking obvious that the social model would be a consequence of the neural model. Do little for Christ's sake. Don't be an idiot. When did I write that? That must have been when you told me about it the first time.
It was probably yesterday.
That's probably yesterday.
So if you look at a social model, a human being has a number of social contacts, and you give them weight based on the value of information they bring to bear, right?
Right,
How do I act in the world, in town, or whatever it is, right?
yeah. Okay, what have we said about neurons so far? Neurons do frequency. Blah, 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 blah. How they survive and grow. Cute with dendrites. So, and I use the story. How did you say it?
What's that?
I said, and you said it's the other, which is, so we have, I'm going to say it wrong again, you correct me. Large number of distributed
Inputs.
inputs, but dots.
Being detected by the cell body, right?
Well, they're detected by the,
Well, yeah, but they're being, the only thing that matters is the cell body, which is gonna fire or not fire. Is in this interpreted, right? Which then fires or doesn't fire. Which requires it requires the threshold to fire. It fires when it reaches a threshold value.
they don't fire.
Yes.
Just thinking out loud here. . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . .
Okay, okay,
I'm just thinking out loud.
I know.
Okay, go ahead. What are you gonna say?
Okay, so it's like this, it's like there's two classes that you need to, in that little section to discuss, there's, efferent and afferent, okay, neurons.
Yeah. Okay. So, forget it, which one is which?
I understand, and I'm like, that's why I'm hesitating a little bit myself. One's output and one's input.
I think it's efferent and afferent.
E is out, I think. That's just fun and games.
Right.
Afferent is in,
Yeah, afferent.
efferent is out. So the input, you're inputting neurons that are putting signal into the dendritic pattern, put out a signal that is detected as an analog. Digital signals are translated into analog at the dendrite.
Right.
The analog is interpreted by the targeted neuron,
Mhm,
which then may or may not release a charge,
mhm.
an action potential.
We're describing its. Okay, so, but when all these, so this is, this partly to get my head around it again. So I'm trying.
I have to stand up and walk around a little bit.
I'm ready to stop whenever you are. I'd just like to finish this 1 second.
That's fine.
By transmitting digital frequency information and dendrites
Translation.
translate these various inputs into digital inputs. Essentially
Signal. Yeah.
Very low chance of a smart answer here, but it's worth trying.
What's that?
Very low chance of a smart answer here, because this is not what it's.
I think
gonna-
we're getting there. It has high enthusiasm and confidence.
Oh, it's just, pretty good story.
Yes.
I didn't study this. I did not study that. I studied it at the output. I know lots about gated channels and axons and microtubules.
Yes.
Rules. I did not study this. I think that's where I made a mistake. I like this order.
You do or don't?
I might like this order.
No, that order is good.
Okay. So what I would like to do additionally, I'd like to describe the overall process sensory associative and micro layers, many columns, regions, the hemispheres, and the neocortex. Why can't I type it all? It's
Hard.
I think I'm just sitting in a funny position. Associative, sort of slouching in my chair here. And then neocortex. Using this digit to analog process, analog to digital process to, is to, well, is it generalize or organize or how, or
Self-organizing.
organize, or how should I explain how this hierarchy converts highly distributed, nearly, information related only in time and position on the, and time, position on, in, or in the body and brain, into, information that is sufficiently disambiguated such that we can both identify objects, spaces, and backgrounds produce in episodes of coherence, and predict from those episodes. Well,
That's a hard question, man.
predict from those episodes and produce episodes of coherence and predict from those episodes future possibilities and risks that we may pursue or avoid.
We'll see what comes out of that.
You never know, right? Sometimes I think I'm going to get a stupid answer and it says, oh, wow, that's great. It's going to do it. I already told it what to tell me. So is it going to tell me anything? Yes, it's going to tell me this. Tell me what I've said. Okay, where's this? No.
Here at the bottom. Yeah.
So okay, so more specifically, what does this hierarchy of digital to analog to digital produce? So, I mean, that's useful for the upstream production. It's not so much that it's going to tell me the answers by trying to tell it. It's like what I do with you, right? I'm like,
I understand.
it's like
It's a process. It's not necessarily going to give you the answer by its own mechanisms.
right. But if I can explain it in the act of trying to explain it to you or to it, right?
Right.
I can work through it. So more specifically, what does this hierarchy of digital to analog? That's why I tell people to write. Because when you wrote a book, right? Which you might even publish someday as I
I sent it to you.
You did?
I did.
I asked you to, and I said, since you didn't follow up, I was like, okay, maybe he doesn't want to send it to me.
It's
But
in the email.
all right, well, I'm not. Hey, I rolled out of bed, washed my face, brushed my teeth, brushed my hair.
Wait, is that you giving me shit?
What?
Is that you giving me shit?
Well, I mean, can I do some back day?
I'm just checking, make sure I'm processing the signal correctly. Oh my.
That useful to the upstream production of meaning. But in other words, I'm not sure how to better ask this question, and I'm hoping that this can help me. I see it as continuous disambiguation into a hierarchy of of consistent relations.
What the back signal provides the antenna with needed information that improves the quality of the signal.
Yeah, which is like, okay, listen to that. Yeah,
We
that's.
don't listen, but we don't need to listen to the other one.
We
Those
don't-
parts weren't helping.
We don't need to listen to that one. Okay,
That was interesting.
what?
It it said feature processing.
Okay, I like this. Basically, it's saying there's no way to tell the story except by telling the story. I think that's what it's saying.
Right?
Um, I think it's answered right here. That's it. That's it. That's the overall purpose. The rest of it's coordination. This is why, what's his name? God, I hate that I have the, I'm gonna get a little bored on my wall.
I like it.
All the people my key influences, right? Are all these people's names. And for
Wait, do this, get a poster board and then put their picture on it. Then start getting string and twine and sticking a pin in there and string through it. So I want to see that shit on your background.
already people think I'm like the guy in the goddamn conspiracy thing doing that shit. I don't need any more association for that stuff. Jesus.
Oh my.
That's just the story. That's the story.
Yes.
So the story I was trying to get is, what's the value of this summing function? It's the identification of relations.
Right. So the neuron's job is to identify the relations and strengthen them.
Yes. So where do we go? So the neuron's job.
The cell body's job, right?
That gets us to the first principles, which is what I'm looking for. The neuron's job is to identify
Meaningful, right? Input.
well, yeah, really. Yeah, meaningful. I don't know if that's right yet. I don't know if I get to meaningful.
Significant.
Let's do it.
Actionable, right? By dendritic association.
Mhm.
It's meaningful relations with other neurons. Right. That's only part of its job.
Yeah, hold on. I'm trying to make sure that I'm not confusing the party by saying a neuron can identify a background, identify the relations, and from simple edges to shapes to objects, shapes to surfaces, to detect more complex, and so that subsequent sections of subsequent groups of subsequent neurons can detect such as shapes, motion, texture, objects, and backgrounds. Is to
I think this is too jumping ahead.
Yeah, I do too. I don't like it.
So it's like this. So it's look, I want to simplify now. So I want to tell the story for a minute. The associative neuron's job is to identify meaningful relations with other neurons. That's it, down to the second line. Okay.
Mm,
That are sufficiently exciting to cause that neuron to fire. Increasing the strength or by modifying the dendritic tree to strengthen the relations with the meaningful neurons that provided that stimulation.
I lost you here. Dendritic tree to the other neurons.
To strengthen the relations, the dendritic relations to significant neurons and to weaken the relations with those that are not contributing.
Yeah, I don't know if it's in the inputs as neurons.
It should be axons. How about that? Axon branches.
Mhm. Almost there.
You cut that part out. Because you're gonna talk about that function, edges, and all that other stuff later. This is the basic function of the neuron and how the dendritic tree is calculating.
Yeah, but I feel like this needs to go earlier.
less significant. So the story that you tell, this is the story. The story is, and I don't remember who told the story. I'm looking it up so I can tell you the story straight up. I'm gonna get Claude to help me.
Any dimensions here, Kurt?
Okay,
This is all crap now, right? The stuff I didn't like is all crap now.
then you don't need it.
Right.
I don't know that it's crap. That's okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't need it.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you this story.
Okay. Is there any hookers and whiskey and cigars in it?
No, but gentlemen who prefer bonds.
Are there any spies?
No,
Are there-
just financiers, just
are-
bankers.
Are
Just
there any?
bankers.
Go ahead.
Bankers and stockmen.
Okay.
Okay, so the story's about J.P. Morgan said to be encountered a young shoeshine boy in the late 20s. The boy brags about making money in the booming stock market and offers the businessman a stock tip, which caused him to know that it was time to get out of the market.
So, well, this is like probably the most important fairy, what do you call it? Mythology, fairy tale, legend, or whatever in the business cycle area. Yes.
Right, but it's a social clue, right? And it caused him to hit an action potential because he understood the value of the information that he was being supplied by do-gooder shoeshine boy.
Mhm.
And so it's the dendritic tree. The neuron is pruning the tree to pick up more and more useful signals, actionable signals.
Mhm. This
And
ambiguity,
it's right?
right? So the neuron.
Noise. And it automatically has a feedback mechanism to modify its dendrites to refine its neural network.
Mhm. It's still, my back processor is still. Still saying we're not transmitting. I see. So what you're saying is we don't really need to cover it there. We can cover it when we get down to this. Because we're really talking about. I don't know how to, okay, here's what's bothering me. I gotta stop soon because I'm fucking tired now.
That's good. We can call it done for the day, and then chat to after game part, conversation.
Well,
So
I'm
what's bothering you?
I feel like this isn't concrete enough with at least presaging how these things combined. We don't have to go to edges and whatever. Combine patterns of features together of increasing.
Yes, yes.
Right, so I feel like we have to do that, so. I feel like,
Put a little editor note in there.
not look at the screen, releasing some edges, but we should cover how the hierarchy of digital to analog disambiguous summation produces relations that and disambiguations
Mhm.
organizations of relations from the most obvious sense or object to the most abstract thought, imagined thought. Right, I got to get that hierarchy of analog summations, analog to digital.
Yes.
Right. I think I got to get that across. Jesus, Brad, we've been at it since 11. It's 4 hours, and we're fucking tired.
Was that a good job?
We did great work today. Absolutely freaking awesome. Can I actually save this before I have a
I think that would be a wise choice.
heart attack? Please save, thank you. Oh my God, Brad, that was a great day. Okay, we want to, I don't know if I have the energy to say goodbye. Thank you for watching.
Hey, how about that? I have a little energy left, Kurt. So allow me to invite the nice people to hit subscribe and like and the notification bell. See, I did it in a different order. That was kind of tricky, wasn't it? It took a little bit of extra processing power to get it done. But they can leave their comments below because we're always keen on that part.
Comments, I like.
And I've tipped my hat. I even have my hat today. I'm going to tip my hat to the nice people who
Comment.
made it through.
Oh, yes. I can't believe anybody. Problem is, this is really valuable. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Again, we produce these for documentation purposes. On the other hand, people do watch them, and so that's why we publish them. Thank you, Brad. Thank you all for watching. Brad, I guess we're going to chat after this.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you for what you do, and I'll talk to you later.